Imagine the doctor told you that you have a chronic disease, you have cancer, and you could live for 2 years, and that is given that you follow all his treatments. I guess that time you felt a bit worried, depressed, and uncertain about your future. How are you going to deal with it? If this is your first time coming to the 1010 Book Club channel, my name is Billy Chan, and today we are glad that we have Nazlan together with us to share about this book, the Silva Method. So Silva Method theoretically has saved his life. He has been a cancer survivor for the past 20 years, and he's going to share with you the subconscious mind, the techniques that he's built, and then the tricks, the tips that keeping him alive and now a very healthy person. I believe that illness are just temporary, but how your mind could overcome that, and also need to take care of the body and your soul. Let's dive into this sharing now.
Thank you, Billy, for your very kind introduction. I don't know whether I can do justice to it. Inshallah, I will. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I start off with a greeting of peace to all of you, and a very good morning to all present. And I thank, first of all, Allah for allowing me this very auspicious occasion, to be with all of you today. Very often in life, I think we often underrate the gifts that are given to us, until God or Allah, hits your head against a brick wall, and then you literally wake up, So I'm 65 years old. I think I can be a father to a lot of you here, including Billy, obviously. I have a daughter. My eldest daughter is now 36, So that's how old I am. Meet my wife, Eve. She's 11 years younger than myself. Silva grad as well. So we've been through life, We've been through life, and I was sharing with our friends from Silva just about 5 minutes, 10 minutes ago, that we're here. Billy asked a question, why are we here? Obviously, I think most obvious answer would be to seek knowledge. But knowledge, as I can share from my own experience, comes really in 4 levels, very basic level. Number 1, even the Quran tells us to recite. There's the first instruction to the Prophet, peace be upon him, recite, ikra. That means to seek knowledge. Seeking knowledge is the first step. Every one of us is incumbent to have, because that's what we're here for. Without knowledge, you can't go through life. Obviously, we know that. That's a general rule, right? But it's not enough just to seek knowledge, obviously. But this is where I think I have an obligation to share with friends and loved ones, my family especially, because a lot of us born Muslims, we take for granted, even the general public, all of you guys, my friends here, we take things for granted in life. We really do, without realizing it, you see. And then we see our life flash by us. And then, you probably reach a stage where after 60s, you really ask why you're here in the first place, What are we doing here? What is this for? Where are we going to, right? These are very pertinent questions, which we hardly have time to ask ourselves, obviously, like when we're younger, because you're so full of energy, you're looking after the family, you got so many things to think about. It's a rat race, obviously, And these are very pertinent questions. So number 1, we need to seek knowledge. And then we stop there, We think that we have already read the Quran, we've got the knowledge, and then we think we've done good. And then you go out and then you behave like a monkey, You break all the rules, You don't care. Why? Because you don't understand what you read, you see, So it's vital having the knowledge, you understand what it is that you're looking at, you see, Really understand what we're looking at. That is the first step to not taking for granted what you know, you see, So second step is to understand what we know. Number 3, obviously, after we understand what we know, we have to apply what we know. That means we have to really implement that knowledge, you see. A lot of us don't do that. Even Muslims also, they don't. That's why they are in the state they are today. I'm not here to talk about religion or whatever, but it's such a universal subject that it applies across. to all of us, to all mankind, you see, yeah? That's the third step. You apply, you see. After you apply, you don't stop there, There's a fourth and very noble stage. You have to share what you know, what you understand, and what you apply, you see. I believe I'm at that fourth stage now. And I hope all of us also, once you hear virtually the story of my life, that's what I'm here for. That's why I suppose I can speak off the cuff, because I speak from my heart, you see, Yeah. And I again, taking things not for granted, that is the core of sincerity, and the core of being, how you say, concerned about your fellow human being, human mankind. And this is why I am here today. You see, I got out of my way, thanks to Billy. At first, I want to thank him. You have to thank him, for seeking us out. I don't know who Billy was, before this talk, obviously. We just got to know each other about a few months only. Through an introduction from Lily, obviously. She, a very quick word about Lily. She's an amazing person, yeah. One of the more influential person in my life. I have a few people who have influenced my life, obviously, and Lily is one of them. She's really up there, yeah. And again, not taking it for granted what we know and who we know. This is the core of the talk today, yeah. And then being concerned. Sincerity is very, very important. That's why we're here to share, you see. Okay? So, next slide, please. Thank you. So that's about knowledge. Next, please. Okay, straight to the point. Can you see? Yeah, I'll start off the time when I got cancer. I'm a cancer survivor, as Billy has introduced. End of this year, December, sorry, I'm off the camera, is it? No. December. Okay, thank you. Because I can't see some of you, so so I walk left and right, sorry. Yeah. End of December this year will be my 20th year surviving the disease. I was diagnosed in December 2003, So now it's 2023, right? So December 2003, meaning I already had cancer way before that. Because why? I was diagnosed stage Duke C. Duke C means third stage already, stage 3. Cancer of the colon, At this point, I just want to ask very, very quickly, all of you, how many of you are here because you either have the disease, which I hopefully not, either you know people who have the disease, or you just, the knowledge of cancer brings you here. Just hands up. Nobody, yeah? Okay. You? You, sir? No. You just want to know, right. Okay. This is one of the things, that's why I see my having cancer as a blessing, really. To me, it's a blessing, yeah? I didn't think it was a blessing then, obviously, 203, because the doctor told me this. But actually, he told me, to be fair, he told me that I have less than 2 years to live, if I don't go for his medicine. That is chemotherapy and radiotherapy. And I found that very, I don't know, you guys have not experienced it, but it's gut-wrenching. It's like having a live bullet put to your head, They said, look, you better come and be serious about your condition now. If not, you got only, he gave me 35% chance to live the next 5 years. So if you do the maths, it's less than 2 years. Put in another way, Next slide. Okay, at this point, I just want to have some disclaimer, a very quick disclaimer, because I'm putting there, first of all, I talk from a viewpoint of a patient, a cancer patient. I'm not an expert, I'm not a doctor, obviously. I don't profess myself to be a doctor, but I do profess to be a professional, because that's what I am. I'm a very passionate professional, I really love my work. Billy says I've built many buildings. Yes, I have. But not, great buildings, I think, But I have won awards, obviously. I really love my work, yeah? And I put my heart and soul into it, especially when I'm in my end stage of my life, fourth stage already, I'm sharing. So I don't only share my life story on cancer and what I took, surviving the disease, but I also share a lot about architecture, the profession, yeah? And how it can affect the livelihood and the lives of each and every one of us through the profession. And I believe every one of us has that noble, how you say, blessing, or capacity that God has put into us, You're here for a reason, all of us. Don't ever take that for granted. You're here for a reason. And the noble reason, you got to find it yourself. Because the fitrah means the natural inclination of a human being is to do good, You call yourself whatever you want, At the end of the day, you have a subconscious mind. You want to do good. Then it makes you feel good, Okay? So, concern for the truth is obvious. You have to be concerned for the truth. Because if you live a life of lies, then something eats you up, inside. That's very obvious, okay? And then importance of conviction. You have to convince. To be convinced to live a very passionate and very, very good life, You have to be convinced about what you're doing, and that is easier said than done. Because a lot of people around you will sometimes advise you otherwise, Yeah? And they are also experts in their own right, Like the doctors, for example. I'm sorry I have to talk about modern medical doctors. If any of you are in their profession, I respect you, But at the same time, having gone through my cancer itself, I know that there is more to modern medicine, actually, and curing a human being, not a person, a human being, okay? And then sincere intent to help. I just mentioned sincerity, very important. There's a very important ingredient in life, yeah? The passion, the sincerity should be there. Then you can really live a very meaningful life. Next, please. Okay, I just want to share you a very important narration where the Prophet ﷺ shared with us, in Islam, we are, sorry, thank you. Okay, I just want to share this very quickly. The Prophet ﷺ, peace be upon him, says, there's no disease that Allah has created except He also created a cure. Except death. Death, there's no cure, obviously. But you see, you can die. You see, you can die from good health, Yeah? You can die in war, for example. Suddenly, I've seen people even praying, not seen, in the YouTube, and then they go down to prostration and they're taken away, Good, healthy people also can just go away like that because it's not your call. The life expectancy of a person is not your call. But diseases, every disease that He creates, He has a cure. So don't let the doctor tell you there's no cure, especially when you get the big C. Don't ever believe that, And of course, I didn't know this when I got cancer, Yeah. It's only after that 20 years of knowledge gaining and then reading, lots of researching, then I began to realize the truth coming out, slowly, So I'm talking about the truth, okay? So next, please. So that's very important. Okay, second point, very important, the human context. This is what I learned along the way, and I want to share with you guys, Yeah, we all have three ingredients in us, We all know this, One is the physical aspect, obviously. Number two is the mental aspect. Number three is the spiritual aspect, Yeah. A lot of us go through life, we think we are only physical. So we look after ourselves. We take the doctor's drugs and medicine, right? That's all for physical cure. And then we exercise. We make sure we eat good food. That's all the physical part. But is it enough? See, the doctor gives us medicine. He wants to cure us, what? Physically, right? He hasn't talked about a mental and spiritual state yet. And then suddenly, when we told him, hey, I don't think I am going anywhere with your chemotherapy, because that's what I told him after about 2 sessions of the cycle, I told him, I feel I'm going backwards because I was losing my hair. I'm still losing my hair. But 20 years ago, it was even worse, it was dropping like crazy. And then I was losing weight. I told him, I'm going backwards, doc. What's happening here? So you're not curing me. Chemotherapy, is a drug-based therapy. It's supposed to kill your cancer cells, if you don't already know it. But until today, I may be wrong here, but correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there is a chemo drug, that only cures, or rather kill the cancer cells per se, because it's like collateral damage. It whacks all your good cells as well. That's why you feel you're going backwards, You're going weak, How else can it be, you see? It has to be that, right? And then you feel like you're going backwards and you're weakening. So I was, what's going on here? So I told my oncologist, look, why am I feeling like this? So I told him after 2 cycles, I don't want to do anything with you guys anymore. And I told him I'm going to find some other methods, traditional method, whatever lah. And he got upset. And that's where the truth came out lah. Then he said, okay, you don't take my medicine, you got 2 years to live. What did he do to me? I got angry, I got angry because I'm a strong-willed person. I said, what is this? You're playing God or what? Who are you to tell me this, you see? So at that time, I didn't realize it, but he was whacking my mental state, Correct or not? So you see this now? You have a physical state, he's trying to cure you, and then suddenly he whacks your mental state. What kind of a doctor is this? You see, my second daughter, our second daughter is a doctor. She's a front line, During COVID, she was at Sungai Buloh. She and husband. I respect doctors, lah. But when they tell patients like this, then how do you respect them, you see? Right? That one, I've not mentioned the spiritual state yet, baru mental state, dia dah bantai kita dah. Spiritual state, sorry lah, the doctor won't be able to help you, Sorry, you got to find this yourself. Okay? Now this is where I start thinking, I cannot take this life for granted, I must look for knowledge some more, learn some more, and then make sure what I learn, I understand. Is it betul tak? This medicine can cure me, right? And then, searching the thing, I found many alternatives. And one of them is Silva method, because that's the mental state. All right? To think positive, etc. To be strong mentally, you have to be. Because you're literally surrounded by experts who are telling you good advice. Even family members, not just doctors, were telling me, hey, please go for chemo. I have a very good friend who is one of the country's top, what is the specialist for bones? Orthopedic, isn't it? Orthopedician, Dr. Said. Very good friend of mine. We used to sleep at each other's house during my school days with him, My classmate in St. John's. He was literally going down on his knees and begging me to go for chemo, So you have a very lifelong friend advising you. You have family, half of my family are broken into 2 camps. One, the modern medicine believer. The other one, the traditional medicine believer. You're in the middle, you're the patient. What do you do, That's why you need a very strong mind, You need to be convinced that what you're going through is the right one. Because after all, it's your body, you're talking about. Not anybody else, not the doctor's body. You're talking about your life, literally, So you got to take hold. That's why the conviction, very, very important, Right? So you need a strong mind. That's where Silva comes in. Yeah? Okay, let's go very quickly to that was me, right after my operation. I think that was January 2004. I was losing weight. I look like, I don't know, I don't think I look really good because I had a stomach bag here, Colon, I had to have a stomach bag because the colon, they cut off about 600 millimeters of my colon near the rectum. So when I eat, it cannot go straight to the rectum and then pass motion, you see. It has to be short-circuited, go up into the bag, And the food that I take in is about 70% processed. That means whatever I eat, the nutrition, not all the nutrition goes back to my body, So a lot of the waste goes out already. So no good. So I was suffering, actually. So that's why I felt going backwards. 2 months I was like this. I believe that was probably, to me, the 2 months, the worst of my life was that 2 months. I was really terrible. And that's why Eve also came in. She really helped me a lot. Okay, I just want to take you back. This is my family. Okay, that's my dad. You can see that was back in the 60s. I'm the one on the left, the only boy. My mother was a born Chinese. He's a born Chinese, actually. She was adopted by a Malay family during the Japanese War. The daughters, that time, they were taken away, and then they were sent to Malay families. I think probably to survive the war. So she's a Chinese. I'm half Chinese, actually, right? And my father, you can see, from his face, he's actually half Indian. So he's Malay and Indian also. So I've got Malay blood, I've got Chinese blood, I've got Indian blood also with me. So I'm actually Satu Malaysia. Alhamdulillah. And I was born in 1957 also, independence. I'm actually 3 months older than Malaysia. Okay. So, and then I have 3 sisters. They all grown up already. The one on my left is Anna. She died of a weak heart when she was 50 years old. So she's gone. On my left is my mom. She also died of cancer, also colon. At the same time, when I was designated or diagnosed colon cancer, she was also diagnosed colon cancer as well. Same, you know. And that's where the doctor said, oh, because your mother also got cancer, it's hereditary. It's, if you ask me personally, I don't believe in that. Short answer. They say you have because your mother also had cancer, you know. And then the theory is that because you live together, you eat the same food, so you're bound to get, maybe there's some truth in it. But I don't believe, because this one, very important. Because that one only aspect of the physical only. You have to take care of this and this, different. Nobody is the same. No 2% are the same mentally, no 2% are the same spiritually. That's why it cannot be hereditary. It cannot be the genes, you know. Yeah? Because it really depends on you, you know, at the end of the day. Okay? Next. Sorry, go back. And then my 2 surviving sisters on the 2 right, Rosie and Fauzi, the bedrock of my life, including Eve, my wife, okay? Next. My youngest daughter, okay, that is 5 years into my surviving cancer, Nazifa. Next. My passion, my work as an architect, I really love the subject, you know, yeah? So you have to have that passion, celebrate life, be good at what you are, and I'm sure you all are anyway, you know, you're all professionals. And my advice to the young ones, yeah, this is the time to seek knowledge and be really good at what you're doing, you know, yeah? So keep at it. Next. And then because of that, now we enjoy what we're doing. That's Eve, you know, inspecting one of our projects. Very quickly, I'll run through this. Next. And then, you know, two of our works, actually, I just want to single out, found its way to be exhibited at the Venice Biennale. The Venice Biennale in Italy is like the Oscars for your work as an architect to be presented at the Venice Biennale, to be exhibited there is saying something. Yeah, so alhamdulillah. Yeah, while there, I never forget to enjoy myself. As an architect, I deal with things which are beautiful. All of you are beautiful. Yeah, aesthetics is part of our life. Design, for the Italians, is their middle name, you know. They are so good in design. Look at their Ferraris, look at their Gucci's, and you know, their designs, their handbags and all that. So the Italians, they have it, you know. When they talk about architecture, the Italians are really good. They are up there, you know, the best in the world. So this is the exhibition itself. Very quickly, I just run through what we are doing. Next. And then that's one of our buildings also exhibited. That is the Academy of Science, Malaysia. We won it through a competition scheme. It is not getting built at the moment because the client still haven't found the money to build it yet. Yeah? They had a budget which is not enough to build a platinum-rated green building. Academy of Sciences, Malaysia. That's us. While attending the exhibition at Venice, we took upon ourselves to introduce ourselves to a few practices in Italy. This is one of them. These are the Bicadro architects team. Max there, I'm talking about, showing in the slide there. That was his first time meeting me, and I just wanted to see if there's a possibility to collaborate with these guys, at least at the design stage, you know. And I'm sorry I'm not sorry that I did this, because later on it helped me in my career as well. Okay. Next, you look at the way they present their schemes, you know, in Italy. They're so santai, you know, very relaxed and very, how you say, a very calm atmosphere. And that has to do something later I learned with the Silva method as well. And like what we are doing today, I wish this can be a dialogue. So I'll run through this very quickly and then leave a lot of time, hopefully, for Q&A. Yeah? Okay. Of course, after the work, go back please. Cup of cappuccino at, at one of the squares in Italy, you know, that's one of the most beautiful things that you enjoy. Yeah? Just like your workplace here, you look at the, you know, what Intel has done. You compare this with the straitjacket office environment anywhere in the world. This kind of environment encourages creativity, yeah? Because you're more relaxed, you see. So, yeah. Okay, still on the physical side, Magna was one of my many first point of reference on the physical aspect of curing cancer. In fact, I was involved with Magna, Majlis Cancer National, right? headed by then the Deputy Minister for Health, Datuk Farid Arifin, a very good friend of mine. In fact, he appointed us to build his cancer specialist center in Malaysia way before I had cancer, See the way Allah planned for us, You never realize that, someday when you get a job or you meet people, you never know whether you cross path again, and then, it becomes a useful tool in your life, you see. So this was one of them. So I got involved with Matna, and they took me across the world, basically to the United States and Mexico. Mexico and Canada as well. They had very, very advanced cancer treatment hospitals at that time. So I was to learn about how to design cancer hospitals, but I was very interested from an architect's point of view, how to treat the patient holistically, That means not just from the medical point of view, but even their mental state, I was already concerned. Like, for example, if you're on a stretcher, they wheel you into the operation table, all you see is lights and ceiling and very, very cold environment, And I wanted to change that. I wanted a more humane atmosphere, just like what you have here, You try to emulate the environment, the outside. You try to emulate the what do you call it, nature, surrounding. Because at the end of the day, we are just creatures of nature, actually. Yeah, and that's Matna. And then I found through one of my clients, cancer care, actually, headed by Christio. Dr. Christio is just down the road here, I think, at Glugo, his clinic, You guys are here. If you ever need a point of reference to cure physically, I recommend him highly. He was an ex-botanist professor at USM. He's written books about cancer, I think tons of books, Yeah? And he's done research on Malaysian herbs for many, many of his years in USM. And he says there are about 500 species of herbs locally, in Malaysia alone, not the world, talking about just our region only, our country. And he says they've only done research, recorded research, only about 20% of the herbs. So the potential, you can imagine, is tremendous, The cure for cancer through herbs, through physical aspect. Okay, I'll talk a little bit more about his cure, but can hear, and this is the physical side, So, but his herbs, wow, very payat one, very, very bitter. But you just have to, you got cancer, you got no choice. Pre-cancer time, I really love chocolates, During my student days, I can eat a bar, no stop, the big bar, one sitting I can finish all. I really love Cadbury's and stuff like that, But I think that's part of the reason why excessive food, any kind of food, especially the sugary ones, is not good for cancer. Yeah, that's a given. That's scientifically proven also. Okay, next. This is the one. This one, I share with you actually, if you can, we like to give you a copy of this if you can, Yeah, maybe our friend Billy here can help, If any one of you interested, very important for the physical side. What to eat? The pantang larang on eating. Obviously, you have to be very careful in what you eat, Yeah. And very basically, the green side, they're all the alkaline-based food, obviously. They are the bitter ones, bitter gourd. What else? You got Christio's tea, herbal tea, and many, many others. Green vegetables. They don't taste very nice. That's why we sometimes add Thousand Island, then we're cheating ourselves. Right? If you should take it really raw, Yeah. Then the alkaline content will cut into your body. Why you need alkaline? Because most of our nice food, tasting food, is on the other side, acid. The sweet, the sugar is acidic. You see, again, I'm not an expert, but this is where I learned from my research. Yeah? The doctors won't tell you this, I think. Because if they tell you this, then they don't know business for them. So they say, you can eat anything you want. You see? Why tell us like that? You're trying to cure us. Come on, tell us the truth. Can? You think we cannot eat the bitter one? We can. That's why God needs to knock us against the wall, and then say, wake up, You got to take care of your body. You got to get hold of yourself. Because your body has a right upon you, Don't abuse it, you see. So I've been abusing my body by taking too much chocolate over the year. Too much sugar, a lot of acid. Coca-Cola, very bad acid. pH 4 like that, I think. Battery water, of course you don't drink battery water. Battery water is 2, pH. pH 7 is neutral, right? Coconut water is pH 9 or 10, alkaline. Coconut water, scientifically proven, I don't have it here, but you guys can research, is probably the best mineral water you can get in the world, So drink coconut water, really. And then there's another water for, we go for Hajj at Mecca. I think some of you have heard Zam water, mineral water, from the ground. That one pH 11, 12 like that, That's why the Arabs, and if we go to Mecca for our pilgrimage, we eat a lot of camel meat, Wow, the kapsa rice and the Arab rice, and the meat, so nice, the mutton, but too much acidic there. So they neutralize it with the Zam water. That's why they're okay there, So you need the alkaline to neutralize your intake of sugary food. If you can know this knowledge, you implement it, inshallah, God willing, you'll be okay, Yeah? So that's my take on food, Doctors say you can eat anything. Wow, when you say like that, people will go back like that. Take all the sugary stuff, And you see Malaysia, you go to Kenduri, where got the salad one, they never sell. They give you all the fried stuff and all sort of stuff. That one is bad for health. Then obviously, next. Knowing that, then my wife Eve and I, we went to a sharing spree, our post-cancer sharing spree, because we were already practicing architecture, but then we were also concerned about our health, and then we shared what we were going through. We learned, we were taking herbs and stuff like that. So we had exhibitions, and then we had a company, and Healthway, to promote some of these products. People have been asking, what is your treatment recipe? They ask me, what's your secret recipe to getting survival in cancer? These are just some of my lists, If you guys are interested, I can probably talk on each about 1 hour each, but we got no time today. Yeah. One of the earliest I went for chelation therapy, ozone bath, organic dentist. Silva method is for the mind. The top 3 is for the physical, and then you got the herbal tea, Christios herbal tea, right? And then you have the bioherbal sanitary pads. Ladies, if you know about this, I was wearing sanitary pads, because of my colon condition. So my rectal also was getting infected. So it's good to have a sanitary pad which is not, it's organic sanitary pads. And then we have cell food. That one's to build up the sick cells, to rebuild the cancer cells. And then you have homeopathy, Lentin Plus. Some of these are not cheap actually, but I'd rather pay for these rather than pay very expensive, therapy for chemical drugs, I call them, Yeah. And then don't get me started with COVID. COVID, the vaccine, don't get me started on that one. That one really, I tell you, the politics of the drugs is really mind-boggling. They can get a government to say that this is okay, when clearly it's not, And you're getting the effects of it now even. I don't know, some of you, I don't know. But I also got the effect of it because I had to go for the 2 and then the booster as well. Terrible. That one also is very chemical-induced treatment. Stay clear away from it. My advice. Yeah? And then what? TRA, the right approach to eating. The right approach to eating actually is literally turning your way of eating upside down, That means your breakfast, you eat it like your dinner, And then your breakfast, and then your dinner, you eat it like your breakfast. That means first meal of the day, eat like a king. Really eat, rice or whatever, because you need the energy during the day. It makes obvious sense, Afternoon, you can have a sandwich or snacks or whatever, right? At night, eat breakfast only, light, because then you go to bed, easy to sleep. Because then your digestion doesn't work, get worked up. When you're young, you don't feel this. When you get older, then you see the after effects, you see. So my advice is, take that one seriously. Having the knowledge is one thing, implement not easy, I tell you. Because why our dinners are all that, the wedding, you see, where got dinner, you eat like breakfast. Dinner, eat so much, You go back and try to sleep. When you're young, okay, you can sleep, Yeah. But then you get affected when you're older, And believe me, that's what I'm doing now. So I try my best also. again, I tell myself, I tell you, it's not easy to implement because our environment is like that. The society is like that, yeah. Dinner, welcome, eat like a king, cannot. Try to avoid as much as you can. You practice this about a week, a month, if you can, then you see your life change, yeah. Physically, you feel better, Okay, next. Medicine for the day, local fruits. Always start with fruits. All the 3 meals must start with fruits and vegetables. That's also the TRA therapy. Because why? You need all those, what do you call it, the fiber, to make way for what is to come. The starch and all the gum, the rice, and then the protein, right? Not the other way around. Because if you eat the other way around, then your fruits come last as dessert. It doesn't make sense, you see? Because the fruits are not going to help you to wash the intestines. See? Think of it, your body, especially your gut, as like a plumbing. You need to clean it up first, right? And then the rest will come through very easily. Okay, that's why yogurt also is nice to start with, fruits and vegetables. Then only your protein. Last is your carbohydrates, you see, bread or rice or whatever. That's why when I go for a traditional Chinese meal, for example, the rice always comes at the end. Then it makes sense, right? You always start with fruits, And I always used to wonder why Chinese eat like this. So, ada ilmu dia. Cuma kita tak ikut saja. You see? So, there is wisdom in all that. Traditional Chinese medicine has been, as long as the Chinese civilization, 2,000, 3,000 years. Modern medicine, 200 years only. Madame Marie Curie discovered radiation, right? When? In the 1800s, you see? I am a history student of architecture, you see? I know my history. 1800s, there was a lot of inventions, you see, right? The Industrial Revolution, medicine, invention in everything, you see. It's like the first Industrial Revolution 1.0. Now we are Industrial Revolution 4.0 or 5.0. So they had it, but it was not, comparatively, it's very young, modern medicine, right? Traditional Chinese medicine, 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago. Are you telling me, as a layman, they don't have anything good there? Cannot be. It's a process of trial and error, you see. So there are a lot of good things about traditional medicine, you see, right? TCM is another very good. So always start with fruits. And then, next. And then you have there. The environment, take care of your environment. Eat with your loved ones. Eat in a very nice setting, Psychologically, it helps a lot, And designers of restaurants these days, they recognize this. The ambience, it's just not the food, it's the environment. Very important for this and for this, for the spirit, you see. It lifts you up, right? Don't ever take that for granted. Of course, exercise. Must have exercise. Bicycle, walking pun cukup. Myself and Eve, we walk every weekend. We try to. During COVID lockdown, we walk every day, around our condo in PJ. Even just about 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 steps pun cukup. But I heard research has been done. If you can afford 7,000 steps a day, then you're going to be very, very healthy. After that, it levels off. The benefit levels off. So the critical point is about 5,000 to 7,000 steps a day, if you can help it, yeah. For me, for a week, weekends we walk about 20,000 steps, 10,000 on Saturday, 10,000 on Sunday, and then hopefully that covers the week, If we can, we also exercise in the gym midweek, Wednesday. So that's my very simple therapy. You see, exercise. Whenever I go for beach runs, I love beach runs, okay? And then, of course, once in a while, you got to spoil yourself with massage and stuff like that. Very important, these things, Don't ever think that it's not important, yeah? And invest in them. Next. Next. See, again, the environment. Okay. Yeah, this one is a lily pond, and then I was relaxing, for dinner. That's Eve and us celebrating my birthday. Next. Okay, this one. I'm coming to the mind side. Just now was the physical side. The mind, of course, I introduced Silva. Yeah? This is an amazing program, I tell you, again and again. Yeah? Next. For those of you who don't really know about Silva, I just want to do, if you don't mind, a short introduction on the method, because it's very scientific as well, and it's an amazing program, Next. And I must confess here first, I've not been utilizing the method as religiously as my wife, actually, to be honest, because I think Now, I want to touch on the spiritual aspect as well, because this has got a lot of commonality, you know, on the spiritual aspects of our minds, you know. Okay, scientifically, we know that I put that willing ourselves to good health by getting into the alpha state. What is the alpha state, you see? Our brain, in fact, everything in life has got a frequency, you know. This one has a frequency, the pen has a frequency, the chair has a frequency. Frequency means wavelengths lah. That means everything vibrates, you know. Everything vibrates. We just don't know at what frequency they vibrate. So we human beings, obviously, we vibrate. That's why when we meet somebody for the first time, we feel good because our vibration is in sync. We are happy because our vibration is in sync lah. That means we are comfortable with that person. If it's not in sync, then we feel, oh, this guy is not for me, you know, that kind of thing. That's why you have to believe in love at first sight, you know. Yeah, there is such a thing, very true. Okay, so beta state, that is the most awakening part of our state of mind, the brain. It vibrates at 14 to 30 hertz per second, right? That's your conscious state. That's when you are awake lah. That means you know what you're talking about. You're conscious. You're not drunk and stuff like that. And then alpha state. That's where you go into that. Silva method is like that. You try to get yourself into alpha state of brain. That means when you are there, yeah, when you get into that state, you can literally will yourself to be healthy, you know. In short, yeah, you can will yourself to do anything actually, but hopefully to do good lah. So that is basically very, very short introduction to the state. Beyond that now, delta and theta and stuff, the state below that, you're really in a sleep mode, you know. Until I can say, for example, the person who is on the surgery table, he gets himself injected with anesthetics, he's probably in that state now, below alpha, you know, until they cannot feel pain, right or not? Yeah, our guru here. So at that time, at that point in time, you cannot feel even pain. That's how the brain waves, they are so relaxed, you cannot feel pain also. Now, the Silva method, and I think many other methods like it, and I don't profess that Silva is the only one, you know, that's existing. There's so many that like it as well. And I can relate that to the prayer as well. That's what it teaches us, to go down. Meditation also, same thing. You meditate, you bring down your brain wave to a very calm state, you know. When you get to that level, you can really, literally do anything. You wish for something, it becomes true, you know. That's where you have to have conviction. Because you can think yourself to be successful by just practicing that, you know. You can think yourself to be even a king, you know, if you want to be. The potential of a human being, I tell you, is mind-boggling, you know. Yeah? And I discovered this through my own religion, Islam. Yeah? I just shared with you very quickly, you know, what is the ultimate that a potential human mind can do, you know, I tell you. Yeah? God, Allah creates the human being with such vast potential. It's mind-blowing. You guys have heard of Einstein, right? Do you know that Einstein, research have been done to his brain long after he died? He actually utilizes only about 18% or thereabouts of his capacity, you know. 18% he's already classified as a genius. And he can discover the equation E equals mc squared. What is that? That is blowing up the world, you know. That's what the brain can do, you know. The energy it can be expounded from E equals mc squared. You can blow up the world, you know. Nuclear power, you know, I tell you. Just imagine 18% only, you know, is capacity of the brain. Just imagine what 100% can do, you know. Right? The potential to destroy, if you want to destroy. The potential to do good, if you want to do good. Example in Islam, you guys have heard Isra and Miraj or not? Isra and Miraj, the night ascension, you know. The Prophet, peace be upon him, he was taken from Mecca, where he was sleeping. He was taken spiritually to Jerusalem, you know, to the mount, the Temple Mount, the Dome of the Rock, lateral, and then he went up to heaven, you know, the seventh heaven, in one split second. The narration is that there was a glass next to his bed, it fell down, and the water left the glass. By the time the water completely finished off the glass, he came back already. And during that time, he met all the prophets, you know. This is a narrative in Islam. If you're interested, it is there. And to me, That is the potential of the human brain, 100%. Split second, he can go up to 7th heaven, meet God. He was taken by an angel, Gabriel, with him. Gabriel went up to the 7th heaven, right? He had to stop there. Even Gabriel cannot go with him, because if he go past that line, Gabriel would burn himself. That means even Gabriel, the angels, potentially, it's not the same level as us, The human being has got more potential than even the angel himself. To meet God himself, That's where God gave him the 5 daily prayers. To get the 5 daily prayers, Miraj happened. That's where he got the 5 daily prayers. He came down to earth and then came back. And then help us to pray five times a day. Before that, he didn't know how to pray 5 times a day. That is the narrative of Isra Miraj, and I believe that is the 100% capacity the human brain was given to him, by God. You see, that's the potential of the human brain, It's such a powerful tool, we often underuse it. Kita guna, I think, less than 10%, I think. We already classified as professionals, intelligent, and stuff like that. Okay? So that's the mental capacity. Silva will help you to attain that capacity, Get closer and closer to your human potential. I don't know whether we can surpass Einstein. I believe we can. Yeah? Because I think he has this missing, the spiritual. He may have the mental capacity. Physical, I don't know. You can see him, when he was old, he was frail looking. Maybe this one is very, very good. But the mental capacity and the holistic capacity of the human is not just one of the 3. You have to have all 3. To survive cancer, you can be sick physically, you can be sick mentally, you can be sick spiritually as well. You recognize this, and then you work at the 3, you can cure yourself on, Any disease also, yeah? Okay, next. Think positive. Always think positive. Okay? Through the meta mind. And don't forget to smell the roses, not to be taken for granted. Always enjoy life, Yeah? Next. Try to paint that alone, You can never emulate the creation of God, Yeah? I'm an architect. I deal with things beautiful, And when I look at the creation of Allah, and I look at my buildings, it pales in comparison, I tell you. Yeah? I go to New Zealand, I go to China, I go to India even, You look at the creation of God, Oh, so beautiful, I tell you. You look outside, yeah? Don't take things for granted, you see. Next. Okay, next. This ourselves enjoying. I just want to show you about a family. Family is so important, Very important, family. Because they are the bedrock of your spiritual and mental state, Yeah? So very important. See, enjoying holidays with my daughter, and that's the doctor. My 2 other daughters, Upin Ipin. My grandmom, my late grandmom. Yeah? She always has a smile on her face, Right? So these are the moments you cherish, Don't ever take it for granted, Yeah? Next. The love is, cannot quantify one, Yeah? I look at my grandchildren, look at that. They're just playing only, the kids. But it cures you, It cures you spiritually, it cures you mentally. It's heartwarming, Next. And then I see their drawing. And then, my grandson says, Nato, I want to be an architect like you. It makes my day, Yeah? Just a few words only. I couldn't draw like this, When I was 10 years old only, I could draw like this. Then my 3 grandkids. Look at the happy faces, Look at that. Look at that. More medication for cancer patients for sure, Yeah? The smile on their faces, the innocence, the fitra, Eve with the 2 of them, they're making faces and making fun. These are all medicine for your soul, Yeah? Be happy, and then holidays. Okay, these are the spirits, the spiritual side. This one I share with you. That's what Islam did for me. My mind-changing, life-changing experience. Yeah? Cancer. That's why I see it as a blessing. I look more into my religion and then try to find the link, More knowledge on what I've been taught, but not what I have been taught to understand, what I've been taught to read only. So I didn't know how to implement, So spiritually, I managed to even take my staff for Umrah, for the minor pilgrimage, And that, I realized later, that nothing beats the feeling of being able to give, Yeah, being able to give is actually a gift, That means being able to share, for free, without any obligation. It's actually a gift from God, And again, it's a very underrated nikmah, Yeah, next. See this with vital food for our souls, Okay, next. Okay, I just want to introduce Sheikh Hussein Yi, a revert. Hussein Yi, born Buddhist, found Christianity, and then found Islam when he was 18 years old. He's a native of Penang. He's now in the Philippines. My sifu, actually. I met him, where, there, at the rooftop of the Grand Mosque, giving a tazkirah, to international listeners. We had Germans, we had English, we had Americans surrounding them, surrounding the Sheikh, talking about Islam. And it's so amazing hearing a Chinese-born person talking about Islam, at Mecca, And he had an amazing way of making it simple, Islam is not a very difficult religion, very, very simple religion. Yeah? And he had a way to say this. So this is my guru, actually. And I learned a lot from him. I took him all over the place. We went to China, and then many, many places like Turkey, He's such an amazing character. So I will put Sheikh Hussein and Lily as one of my top gurus up there. Life-changing experience. And then he even taught us you can pray anywhere as long as you're traveling. And there's only 2 places you can't pray in the world. Number 1 is the graveyard. Number 2 is the toilet. The rest of the world is your mosque. That is a saying by the Prophet, peace be upon him, You don't have to go to the mosque to actually pray. That's our religion, you see. As long as it's clean. I just want to share this. I just told you, to be appreciative. Click again, please. Yeah. Click again, please. Again, let it move. This is a video that I took. It's actually a sunrise. Yeah. Then I found this ayat Quran, and of his signs is that you will see the earth still, but when we send down upon it rain, it quivers and grows. Indeed, he who gives life is the giver, and life of the dead. Indeed, he's over all things competent. It's just an appreciation of the simple things in life, like just seeing a sunrise, and then seeing, how the wind blows the leaves. And then, from me as an architect, I am able to appreciate the color green, the blue, and how no 2 greens are the same. How the blue go from blue to dark blue, to different shades of blue, and it goes to yellow, and it goes to red, and then the sun rises. If you're an artist, your mind goes crazy, when you think about this. You try to emulate this and you try to paint, you cannot paint, I tell you. You just go fatigued. And it blows out of your mind, how beautiful the world is, you see. Yeah? Okay, next. Again, not to take things for granted. Look at that. That's not overseas, that's in Perlis, Yeah. And we had students here. I'm now with Sheikh Hussein. He is a non-government organization, Al-Khadim, and his motto is serving mankind, you see. And this is what he promotes. He takes youth for youth camp, and then we teach the youngsters what to appreciate. So we bring them to places like this, then ask them to draw what they see, So it's amazing to see how they respond. Next. These are the ones. This one happened only last year, December. We had the motto, the battle within. This is all part of curing the disease, because I volunteer, myself and Eve, we volunteer very actively into this NGO. Next. And you see, the slide below, before this, and then you see upstairs, this is the kind of canopy you have, covering, just like an umbrella covering the ground, And this was a Friday prayer. Okay, next. Next, please. Admiring, contemplating the Creator's masterpiece. We always do this as much as we can. Next. Look at this. Just birds in flight, Capturing that nature, that moment in nature. Yeah, it's so important for your cure, Next. Coming to the end already. And then, beautiful scenes like this, right? There's so many of them, Yeah? Next, please. And then, of course, coming down and winding down after a busy week, their office, home sweet home. Create a nice environment for your home, Yeah? You come back and relax, you see. Very important, Thanks. And then, there is no description, I said here, to the feeling of being able to give, to serve mankind. Yeah? Try it sometime yourself, Go out and volunteer, reach out to the poor, and then give them, something, If not give from your heart. Give something, even if it is 5 cents or $2 or whatever, And you see the difference here. It fills up your heart, Yeah? And that, I believe, is already medicine for your cancer, Medicine for the cure. Heart, medicine for the soul. And again here, this is a very important verse I'd like to share with you guys. Verse from the Quran. Allah will not change the condition of people until they change what is in themselves, You have to make a conscious search. You have to have the effort. You can pray all you want, That's the difference between a cleric and a practitioner. You can pray or you can dua all you want, but nothing happens if you don't move. Nothing happens if you don't implement what you know. Nothing happens if you don't implement and share what you understand, Yeah? Okay, next. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, sorry.
Okay. Nazlan, I start with one question.
Sure. Yeah, please.
This is from James. He asked that, should we still take walnut for nutrition, even it is acid-based? And be careful not to eat too much. Comment.
From?
Walnut. James.
James. From James.
Yeah.
Okay. Walnuts. It is acid-based. In fact, most nuts are, I believe. It's acid. I believe, what acid do you call it? Boric acid, I think. I only start feeling it now in my 60s, because it goes to my feet, the balls of my feet. And then they call it gout, isn't it? That's why gout is acidic, you see. I believe you can have walnuts. Actually, you can eat anything like the doctor says, but in moderation, And then you know how to balance it. If you have to eat walnuts, eat. After that, you drink coconut. So you neutralize the acid. Then you should be okay, inshallah. Yeah? Of course, we cannot eat everything pH 7, pH 7, pH 7. That will be very boring, then becomes. That's why, God gives us 2 sets of teeth, right? Basically, one is the carnivorous one, the other one is herbivore, right? That means you have to eat protein, meat and stuff like that to be able to tear like the tiger, right? Then you have also the teeth, which is molars, to grind, you see. That's the wisdom in that. So that's the hint on what food you can and ought to take. So all in moderation. You look at your teeth also, all of them are not sharp, all of them are not blunt, It's like 50-50. So the food also, conversely, is the same, you see. Don't eat just chocolates only, like what I did. No good. Yeah? I'm not an expert, but that's my advice.
Experience.
I'm from experience, yeah. Thank you, Billy.
There's a question from Chuing. She asked that, can you please elaborate the process and how do you practice the Silva method of mind control that help your cancer healing process?
Right. By going, short answer, by going to level, obviously, and then by willing ourselves to, level is alpha level, go down to alpha level, by a process of, my favorite is the 3 fingers, obviously, and then you sort of half close your eyes or even close your eyes completely, and then you really, it takes about 2 to 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes if you're a beginner. But if you're good at it, if you're a master already, you can even do it with your eyes open, I believe. Yeah, you can be in that state, like meditation state. We watched yesterday the Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi, he can go into a trance, his eyes is open. And then, it's like meditation. The grandmasters, they have the capacity to do that. Yeah. Prayer also, same thing. When we pray, we always bow down, we look like that. Then we look at our prayer mat. And then we actually in alpha state, we go down to that level. Then you start praying. You dua. Dua means, dua, if I just want to share very quickly with you, is to ask from Allah all things good, you see. You just ask for His blessing, right? To have good health, to have wealth, nothing wrong with wealth, provided you know what to do with it, right? To do good, obviously. So, to be in alpha state is actually a prayer, actually. It really is a prayer, And that's where you can start willing yourself to get cured. because you're asking for Allah to get cured. Then you can imagine yourself, shooting lasers at your cancer cells, and then you can wish your cells to be healthy, right? In all kind of conditions, like, you can even ask for Allah for good health as well. So it's just not down to only health. Many things you can ask, even to change the behavior of your daughter or your son if they are not doing well, to ask them to be successful in the exams. You can wish for anything at alpha state, you see. So the techniques are there. I will encourage, anybody who wants to learn more about this, to enroll yourself in Silva program, they are experts there. They will tell you and share with you the scientific techniques. There's so many techniques. Even I I must confess, I was never able to implement or, go into many of the techniques, because to me there was just too many of them. Really just blows our mind, so many ways. But I go for the basics, the 3 fingers, and that's it. It works for me. It works also for Eve. Eve maybe can share with you also later, if you want. She also helped to cure me, of my cancer, obviously. To have my beloved wife next to me is so important, because you need to have the support, you see. The family that's why I stress, very, very important. Okay?
Then Nazlan leads to the next question from the chat by Hussein. He asked that, I am interested to know where can we learn about this method.
Where? Silva. Oh, you need to contact with Wendy, is it? What's his name? Grace.
Grace and
William, yeah. Yeah, the Sifus are here. I believe go to the website, right? Go to the website, Silva Method, Malaysia, or .com.my, right? And then look up Penang, Then you'll find these lovely people, They're there, and they will help you, right? I would encourage, go to their YouTube first, have a look. You won't regret it, to me. It really helped pave the way, to my curing cancer and the state of where I am now, today. Yes, I believe.
Okay. Any more questions? Anyone from the floor? Okay.
Yes, please, yes.
Say your name.
My name is Zareen. Okay, so I've briefly I've known about the Silva method from last year,
Alright.
Same as you, from Mind Valley. So I started reading through it, and then I find that this particular method is like what you mentioned just now. It works perfectly well in your alpha state of your mind, right?
Right.
So I try to relate it back to sort of Islamic teaching. So I find that when you are having your tahajjud prayers,
Yes.
for maybe you can elaborate more on that.
Right.
So when you have tahajjud prayers, your mind is still within these 2 frequencies, right? So if you don't mind me asking, do you practice
Yes.
that? And then how long did it take for you to see results?
Well, okay.
Thank you. By the way, thank you for the sharing.
Thank you. Thank you for that question. Thank you. Yes, we have another technique in Islam. It's actually a well-known technique also. But like I said at the outset, very few of us understand this last time, It's not until we get a life-changing experience that we know the secret behind it. It's called the tahajjud prayer. Tahajjud, like our friend mentioned, tahajjud means the dawn prayer, just before the dawn prayer. It's actually the night prayer. And it exists between the last prayer of the day, Isha, at about 8:30, 9 o'clock, until about 5, 6 o'clock, like that. Because the first prayer, the dawn prayer for the Muslim is at 6 o'clock, thereabouts. In Penang now it's about 6:30. So any time, the last third of the night is the best time to pray the tahajjud prayer. That is when you are in your alpha state, because you've just woken up, you're half asleep, that kind of thing. But you're fresh. You're not wanting to go to sleep. You're on the verge of waking up. That's when you're really in deep state, and you don't worry about anything. You're not thinking about your appointments and stuff like that. You're only there with your prayer mat and with Allah in front of you, in your heart. So you're really in deep alpha state already, You wake up, and that's the issue. To wake up, at that time, it's not easy, I tell you. But when you do it again and again and again, it becomes practice. It becomes easy. You just have to have this sincerity. With sincerity, with with your heart wanting to do something, and you really believe in it. That's why sincerity, conviction, very important ingredients in your makeup of the human being, the character, very important. You have this, everything becomes very easy, Tajud is very one. And Tajud, there's so many jewels, that is contained in the Quran and the hadith of the Prophet, peace be upon him. We also don't really understand what it means until we actually experiencing the difficulties we go in life, And then how when we implement it, how it solves all your difficulties, It's like the secret recipe lah. You discover and then say, ayo, it's already there in front of my eyes, I never utilize it, Yeah? So Tajud is that actually, because that's when, one of the jewels that's found in our scriptures is that's when Allah himself is in the lowest heaven. He's close to his servant, He's close to us. And all we need to do is to ask. That's all he states, You just ask, I'm here for you. Every day you have the chance to meet him, Not in person, but in spirit, Right? And then when you meet him, he also boasts to his angels, look, my servant is down there talking to me, Can you imagine if the king talks that about you, If the prime minister says, this person come to my house, look at him. It's only God himself talking about you, Directly, Yeah? He's talking to the angel. Look, he's coming up. Everybody is in bed, sleeping. This guy is up. He prays to me, He's asking me for help. He's asking me for forgiveness. Can I say no? I love him more than his mother loved him, That is the love of Allah, It's just amazing, I tell you. And then when you understand this, you can cry, Right? He's got so much love for us, Then when we ask, he will never forsake you, So you make this a habit, and that's where things become so clear in your life. Even when you are going down with difficulties, like for example, you're short of cash. We're now going through that phase at the moment, to be honest with you. Collection is very poor, but we know in our hearts that Allah's plan is better than our plan. We can plan in life, but He will give you, when is the time to give, how much He wants to give. And you must always be thankful for what you already have, you see. That's how, the gift of gratitude also is another thing which I want to touch upon. If you are grateful, He will give you more. If you're grateful, you will never imagine where your risky comes from, So that's another conviction, you have to have that belief, I think the religion also teaches you to be grateful, right? To show respect to your elders, to be grateful for what you have. Nothing is ever enough for the human greed lah. We all have that, unfortunately. But we have to be able to control that, you see. And how to control? Like this lah. Silva is one of them. Go down to level and say thank you, right? Then you won't be disappointed with life lah. That's how you deal with stress. Not going to some shrink, I think. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. But this is because you're dealing with holistic, entity. We are human beings. We are basically made up of three important ingredients. Don't ever forget that, We're just not mind only. We're not just spirit only, So don't be like the rabbi or whatever, You just disappear in a cave somewhere and don't do anything. Cannot so. Yeah? You have to implement what you know. You have to be spiritual about what you have. And then, inshallah, with God's will, everything will fall into place. Sorry, I have to digress. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, thank you.
Any more questions?
Okay.
There's a question from Kin Hui. This is a question to you, Nazlan.
Yes.
He is curious if the cancer cells are still detectable after so many years.
Yep.
What are the Western medicine doctors said about this miracle?
Right. Thank you. Yeah, how to know whether the cancer cells are still there? We know for a fact from scientific evidence that everybody has cancer cells. Yeah? As long as you're a human being, you have cancer cells. Cancer cells really means your normal cells growing to abnormal sizes, that's all. And it just needs something to trigger it off. Mostly, either it comes from food, your mental state, stress lah, or your spiritual state lah, right? So it manifests itself through that, you see, Now you know whether your cancer cells are there or gone already. Just do blood test lah. That's what I did, you know. They have tumor markers, right? That's one of the simple tests. Although he says, you know, the doctors might say it's not very accurate, but still an indicator lah. And I've been doing that quite religiously. I think I say quite now. I used to do it every quarterly. Yeah, just go to the what do you call it? Path lab, you know. Yeah. And then you know just take your blood, and then say you want tumor markers done for my cancer. Then the doctor will ask you what cancer specifically. So they will do the appropriate test. Then they will show you the results. If the result comes out, if your blood, your tumor marker is within a certain range, then you know you don't have cancer coming, you know. And that's what happened to me. I've been doing this blood test for a long time now, since, of course, when I contract the cancer. And my tumor markers have always been within range. Alhamdulillah. So I know I'm doing the right thing, you see. So that's the way how you found out. Yeah? Okay, thank you.
Any more questions?
Any more? Our Sifu? Don't have, huh? Okay. Can I just say one final word? Yeah. I really hope that this small talk of mine has been beneficial to all of you, you know. That is my concern. I just hope that, you know, I've not bored you, obviously, with my life history. It's a short history, but I hope that, you know, what I've shared with you, there's some benefit. As long as you can get some benefit of it, you know, I'm very happy already. Okay? So that is my wish, and may Allah grant me this. Okay? Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Alright, that's the end of Nazlan sharing. If you like video like this, remember to subscribe and like us, because we are going to share more book club sharing video every month. And if you like Nazlan video, do check out some recommendation video that I posted over here. See you next time, and happy learning.